Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be on both sides of a lawsuit?
It's very interesting. I have another one where, I virtually won the Mar-a-Lago Bracken suit. And I have to work out some kind of a settlement. I'm supposed to work out a settlement with myself because when the FBI broke in, we sued. When before I was president, I sued. And obviously it was a very good suit, and I have that one. And I have to work out the settlement. I was strong on how to handle that. Well, I think what we'll do is do something for charity. We're thinking about doing something for charity where I'll give money to charity. We can make it a substantial amount. Nobody would care because it's going to go to numerous very good charities. I know I let them ask us if they want help. They're always complaining. If you go in, they complain. They complain no matter what. We brought crime to the lowest point in the history of our country. 125 years. 1900. Think of it. Year. Think of that. 1900. Can you imagine? We have the lowest crime in the history of a country. Despite the fact that our country was riddled with a lot of bad people from the Biden open border, but we've taken a lot of them out. We're at the lowest point in history. Have the least number of murders in the recorded history of our country. That's incredible. But honestly, the crime-ridden cities are all Democrat-run cities, and if they want help, they have to ask for it, because if we go in, all they do is complain. But if they want help, they can ask for it, and they're going to need help. Los Angeles, as an example. We went in, we solved it. The chief law enforcement officer in Los Angeles said they couldn't have done it without the federal government. A week later, he said they didn't need the federal government. So we don't want that. If they want help, they'll ask, but they have to say please.
The Democrats have made 3 demands. They say they want no broken patrols, they want established rules for use of force, and they want masks off.
We'll talk about it. It's not appropriate yet. We have to let a little time go by, but we'll talk about it. But we want... I got elected for law enforcement with the border, for the economy, things I've done a great job with. When you have the lowest crime rate in the history of our country, recorded in 125 years to be exact. So I've fulfilled so much. We'll have to talk about that over the next 3 days.
What do you think of the latest release of Epstein, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy, Wolf, was a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping. The radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me politically or otherwise. And, that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf for that, and maybe the Epstein estate, I guess. I don't know. But we're going to certainly sue.
You want to sue the Epstein estate?
Well, you may. I guess so. Because he was conspiring with Wolf to do harm to me politically. That's not a friend.
You said that the profits will be split. What's Venezuela's share of the oil profits going to be?
Well, we haven't discussed that, but we're getting along very well with the leadership of Venezuela. They're doing a really good job. We're going to be selling a lot of oil, and we'll take some, and they'll take a lot, and they're going to do very well. They're going to make more money than they've ever made, and it's going to be beneficial for us. We're going to really... I think Venezuela is really going to turn around. I opened up the airspace over in Venezuela so that now people from Venezuela came from Venezuela here. They're going to be able to go back for the first time, go back to Venezuela and stay perhaps, or go back and see their relatives go for a short period of time.
Sir, do you think China's going to get their money back from all the money they left to Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I'll tell you what, China is welcome to come in and would make a great deal in oil. You know, we welcome China. We've already made a deal. India is coming in, and they're going to be, buying Venezuelan oil as opposed to buying it from Iran. So, we've already made that deal, the concept of the deal. But China's welcome to come in and buy oil.
Sir, the Washington Post reported that you're considering an arch that's 250 feet high. Can you talk a little bit about that and address critics who say that might be a little bit too large for the space?
We're considering an arc. It's like the Arc to Triumph in Paris. So for 200 years they've wanted to build an arc. There are 57 cities throughout the world that have them. We're the only major city, Washington, D.C., that does it. The circle prior to the bridge, you know, the Arlington Bridge has been waiting for hundreds of years to have this done. In fact, there are 4 eagles that got built, but it was interrupted by a thing called the Civil War, and so it never got built. Then they almost built something in 1902, but it never happened. So we have an unbelievable park that I think will be the most beautiful in the world being built there, and going to be built there. 250 feet. I don't know what the height is. It's just appropriate for the site. We're setting up a committee, and the committee is going to be going over it, but it'll be substantial. I'd like it to be the biggest one of all. We're the biggest, most powerful nation. I'd like it to be the biggest one. It's a very exciting job. Actually, they've been waiting for many years, just like the ballroom. For 150 years they wanted a ballroom. Now we're going to put up the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world, as far as I'm concerned. And I could have built a much bigger one. I didn't want to do that. And I wanted to be in keeping with... I didn't want it to be taller than the White House, etc. So I wanted it to be in keeping, but it's a really beautiful building done by some of the best architects in the world, the ballroom. Likewise, the Arc. I think it's going to be great. We're just setting up a committee now for the Arc.
Could the money for the lawsuit that you may settle with yourself go towards paying for that arc?
Well, we hadn't thought of it, but we're going to probably, you know. I mean, it's sort of a strange position because I have a lawsuit like the break-in of Mar-a-Lago, and I made myself that somehow will never look good. So what I had, and other people, a lot of outside people said, "What a great idea, 'cause nobody cares how much it goes to good charities." So you settle by giving charities a lot of money, and I think we're going to do something like that. We're looking to do something like that. Charity beans are paying for the ballroom and the arch. No, I don't think either of those. I'm talking about American Cancer Society. A lot of I think they should be probably established charities. You have, I would say, established and respected charities.
Sir, do you think China's going to get their money back from all the money they left to Venezuela?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But I'll tell you what, China is welcome to come in and would make a great deal in oil. You know, we welcome China. We've already made a deal. India is coming in, and they're going to be, buying Venezuelan oil as opposed to buying it from Iran. So we've already made that deal, the concept of the deal. But China's welcome to come in and buy oil.